Welcome. This is the podcast designed to help you start happening to your life instead of life happening to you. Our 3 pillars for success are family, health, and wealth. Come with us as we share powerful tools to live the life of your dreams and leave a legacy for those you love. I'm your host, Cameron Norris. All right, guys. Well, welcome to the Family, Health, and Wealth podcast, where our goal is to help men start happening to their life instead of life happening to them. So this podcast will be talking about the wheel of life and how you can apply it to look back over your prior year and use it to start setting smart goals to start attacking areas of your life that you really want to work on. And this week I have Ryan Paugh on my podcast. So I'll kick it over to him, let him do a brief introduction of what he's up to and how we've been connected, and we'll get into it. So Ryan, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey Cameron, thanks for having me. I've been working with you, doing your group, going through the wheel of life, kind of taking a look how things are going, how things have been going, and then kind of going from there. So using it to set goals and determine where I need to work on to balance it out and where I want to go from going forward.
Nice. And you and I have been meeting, I'd say, for over 6 years, grabbing coffee, talking about books we're reading. It's been great to, you've turned me on to so many different books or podcasts that we've listened to and discussed over coffee. So it's great to be on a podcast with you, sharing our thoughts and building knowledge for others. I'm excited to talk about the wheel of life. And for those of you who may not know about it, it's a good, you have to imagine like a wheel. So you have a wheel and then like a wagon wheel, and it has spokes on it. And there's at Family, Health, and Wealth, we like to use 8 spokes in that wheel. Of course, the core ones we have are family, first and foremost, then our health, and then wealth. Other ones we add to that are spiritual, adventure, social, career, and relationship. So as you're working on the wheel of life, you want to look at your prior year and fill out the tick marks to kind of judge how'd you do in those areas over 2019. And kind of, Ryan, whenever I look back at my life for 2019, and if I were to look at family, I set some goals in 2019, and one of them, I have 4 kids. Oldest is age 9, youngest is age 3. So we're packed in there. And we have a goal, with that big of a household, that we give them one-on-one time because it's so important. And when I look back on 2019, we kind of failed on that one a little bit. I think we maybe did 4 months where we gave all the kids at least, a date night a month. So that's an area that I kind of struggled in and kind of rate myself a little bit lower on the family side.
Right. Kind of unbalance the wheel a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we did kind of pick up steam towards the end of the year. We got family dinners going. That was another goal we had, where we hadn't, early part of 2019, weren't really doing a whole lot of family dinners. And we got that back on the plate, I'd say, in October, and we're hitting about 2 to 3 times a week. We'd sit down around the table and have dinner. By December, we were getting up to 4. So
nice.
I'd say, those 2 big goals we had, I'd give myself a 5 out of a score of 0 to 10 in the family spoke, because we had some goals around that, and I feel some we met, some we didn't. But that's kind of an idea for those listening of how you'd go through the wheel. and think, did you set goals in those areas or did you not? And I don't know, Ryan, if there's any you think of that you want to share as an example for our listeners.
There's probably more than I would like to share here.
Yeah.
One of the ones that we, going back and look at it, we set some goals and we haven't really quite been doing it. We'll kind of be on the social side. So we wanted to start entertaining more, having people over, or trying to get together with, some friends here and there, a little bit more outside of, kind of the kids, so you can kind of reconnect as adults. And
Yeah.
we also have three kids, 7, 4, and 3.
Yep.
So yeah, we're right crammed
Busy
in there as
house.
well. So I think there's probably some friends out there that I haven't talked to since we had our third kid here and there, and just to kind of reconnect on a different level. Uh, we kind of missed on that. We didn't really do much entertaining, and we towards the end of the year we started using some of our date nights. We do date nights every other week. We have a babysitter set up and keep that pretty consistent, so that's nice. But I started using some of those date nights to reconnect with some couples. We did a couple with like our neighbors right next door here. They have a, I think she's in second or third grade, so they have a daughter, and
Oh,
as long as
good.
babysitting all worked out, yeah, we would go out and kind of reconnect with them, and which was nice. So
That's
that's
great.
something I would like
Yeah.
to, yeah. But same thing, I would probably put myself about probably a 4 or 5. I don't know if we really had any. I don't even know if we had any like barbecues or any
Yeah.
opportunities to reconnect with either families or friends as a whole. So
Okay.
that would just be one example, just in the social aspect there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. That's that's the thing is there's many spokes here,
Hmm.
and you've got to think of your wheel. You want a balanced wheel going down the highway, and kind of when you get those fours, fives, it's like you're going down the highway on one semi flat tire, and it makes it harder to get where you want to go. And I know I spent seasons of my life where um, I was focusing a lot on the career spoke, and I'd have a 9 or 10 in the career spoke, but like a 2 in the family spoke, and
Right.
that's okay for like a short season, a
Hmm.
couple months, get
Hmm.
some stuff figured out. But man, if you run on that 365 a year, it's gonna you're gonna run that tire off.
Yeah.
So
Some of that treads on that side is going to start showing real quick.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So awesome. Well, that's great. We kind of shared some mid-level, um, some scores there. If I were to look at an area where I felt like I was doing okay. A 6 or 7 or 8. Um, if I look back on my 2019 for health, I I started off the year pretty strong. I was doing a beach body workout with my wife and did really good. I'd say for about 2 months. So I made it past Quitter's Day, January
There you go.
17th.
Okay.
But but I didn't make it too far into February before I fell off and got focused more on the career side and was getting into work early and leaving work late and not
Yeah.
getting my workouts in. But then I didn't let it slide too long. About May, I had a good lunch with a friend, and we talked about investing in our health. And he said, I could be a bit frugal sometimes, but he kind of talked me into buying a mountain bike. So I bought a decent price mountain bike in early May and entered some races, and that kind of got me back into biking, running, getting up earlier in the morning, taking care of myself before I went to work. So I'd say I maintained that pretty good throughout 2019, and I think I'll give myself a 7. It's a borderline 6, but I'm gonna go 7 because I feel like I did get some works in. So I'll say 7 for health in 2019. So I'm kind of wanting to maintain that as I go into 2020. Is my goal.
Right. You keep doing the mountain bike circuit?
Yeah,
Nice.
I'm gonna sign up again, and there's a a guy I met that my son plays his our sons play basketball together, and he's actually used to be big into mountain biking. So I'm trying to see if he'll sign up, and it always helps to have a buddy or somebody that's doing it too. So
Hmm. Definitely.
yeah. Well,
Nice.
what about you? Any areas you feel you look back on 2019 and you kind of pat yourself on the back?
Um, uh, it's a tough one. Uh, my wife always tells me that I'm too critical, and I would probably agree.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, that can
let's
be
see.
true sometimes.
Yeah. So I don't know if I have any quite at the nine like you had at your career, at least at one point. Um, the family side is usually pretty strong. Seven.
Hmm.
Like I said, we have the date nights, and that's all credit to my wife for setting that up.
Yeah.
Um, but pretty consistently doing date nights, just
Okay.
her and I getting out uh,
That's awesome.
about every other weekend. So, which yeah, it was really nice to be able to connect, have the adult time, no screaming kids,
Yeah.
or just busy household, and yeah, you don't get that a lot. So, um, and then also we didn't quite get to the dates, the one-on-one dates. But now that our kids are getting a little bit older, that's a focus for this year.
Okay.
But last year we did hit some of our other goals as far as getting outside and um, checking off some of the things we wanted to do as far as getting the kids out fishing and uh, doing stuff like that. So learning to ride bikes and getting out on those scooters, stuff like that. So the family side was good. Uh,
Nice.
then yeah, so it's kind of interesting. You mentioned like the career side, and I keep coming back to the will, even though I've kind of set my goals on the career side. I made a change back in September. Um,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, so uh, yeah, I made a career change there, and so I'm using the will now to kind of go back and look to see if that was really the right choice. So um, kind of see where I'm standing now and see what sides are pulling on what. And right now, that career side, my wife also works full time, has
Yeah.
a busy, successful career. And with both of us being out of the house that much, that family side is really getting pulled on now. So
Sure. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
that's
I think.
something I'm kind of looking at it going forward.
Yeah. I think that's great. Where this kind of helps you look at that.
Hmm.
So you can start to balance it out and say, okay, well, if if Nikki's doing this and I'm doing that, where can the compromise come in that we maintain that balance so that we're not, like I said, where maybe my career was a 9, but my family was a 2.
Hmm.
It's like you can't maintain that for very long. So
Right.
you've got to find a way to pull back in areas
Yeah,
and stretch in others.
exactly. And that's kind of what I'm looking at is, where's that career pulling at? And
Mm-hmm.
part of it would be health because I'm not getting to the gym that I need to be when I need to be because I'm either traveling or have earlier meetings. And yeah, the family and probably even the romance and social spiritual side is kind of pulling on all of them right now just because of the added stress of both of us
Yeah.
working more than 50 plus 60 hours a week. So
Yeah.
um,
That can be a
yeah,
lot.
yeah. But yeah, using the will, you kind of keep everything in perspective because kind of see all the categories there. So
Yeah.
um, it's a good way to not only see where you did last year, we kind of see where you're going and what's going on currently. So
Yeah. Nice. Well, good. Yeah. It's a great tool to help. And I think we kind of gave some good examples of 4 of the spokes. And
hmm.
we at Family Health and Wealth made a template that we'll put it in the show notes, and it's on the website. But it's a spot where you can go download a free PDF um, that kind of walks you through the wheel of life, so you can look back on 2019 and kind of hit those areas. If you had goals, think about how you're doing with your wealth. Are you saving the match of your 401k, or are you up to 15%? And maybe if you're at your company match of 3 to 4 to 5%, see if you can stretch it a little bit to get more up to 15%. Or if you feel you're doing good there, but maybe you want to, I know I talked about this one in our group, Ryan, adventure. I'd say our
Hmm.
travel in 2019 was a 2. Like we didn't, we went and saw family, which is awesome. Love
Yeah.
family,
Yeah.
but we didn't do like a Norris vacation
Right.
um, to Disneyland, or not that we always have to go to Disneyland, but someplace, the ocean or something. So
Hmm.
that's something my wife Jillian and I are going to look at in 2020. You know, do a good trip. I'd love for my kids to see the ocean, um, and just kind of experience that. So we're
Yeah.
looking to put some more adventure into our 2020 for sure.
Yeah. That's one I want to focus on as well, and kind of because having the family adventure kind of goes into the family side too. So yeah, I don't know if we'll do any big trips, but um, have a goal of getting out and going, taking the whole family camping at least like 5 times
Oh
in summer.
yeah, yeah,
Finding a couple different state parks or national parks that we can kind of explore and uh, kind of just do it as local as we can. Um, but we'll
yeah.
see. My oldest wants to go to Yellowstone, so we'll see what happens there. But
Oh, fun.
yeah, yeah.
That'd be
So
awesome.
yeah.
Well, good. Well, yeah. So, guys, go ahead
Hmm.
check out our website, look at the download, and give it a try. Let us know what you think of it. So, um, so yeah. Now we can kind of move into the SMART goal planning. And I don't know, Ryan, are you familiar with SMART goals?
I am.
Okay, good. Yeah, I I think I got turned onto these probably about 6 years ago. I think I was exposed to it at my work. Um, they do some like leadership training and stuff, and they talk about SMART goals, how you've got to have um, a specific measurement in your goal. So you got to be specific about what you're trying to accomplish, and then so that's the S in SMART. So it's an acronym, and then you gotta um, it's got to be measurable. So that's the M in SMART. Um, so, for example, if you want to save $200 a month, that is specific. I want to save $200 a month. It's measurable. I'm going to look monthly at my budget and see if I'm saving $200. Um, A is for attainable. So the A in SMART is attainable. Can you accomplish it? So you got to look at your budget and see if it's realistic. So um, if you're spending a lot more money than you're making because maybe the mortgage is really high and car insurance and groceries, and it may not be realistic to get $200 a month. Um, Actually, I kind of messed up there, Ryan, because A is attainable, right? R is
Hmm.
realistic. I guess that's a point of, what do you think there with attainable versus realistic? Or am I getting those
Um,
backed up? Let me see.
let's see, attainable. Let's see. Yeah, and the handout
Relevant.
here, attainable,
Yeah.
realistic with the tools and resources that are for relevant.
Yeah. So,
Aligns with your mission in life.
yeah.
Yeah, I definitely like the yeah, achievable and realistic. I think those might be two different or two very similar things. So I like the relevant.
Yeah. So,
Uh,
yeah, why do you want to do it? So, yeah, thanks
yeah,
for getting me back on
yeah,
track there.
yep.
Relevant as opposed to realistic. Relevant,
Hmm.
is, if your mission in life is to not live in debt or something, and you're in debt and you got to save money, then that aligns real well. However, if your mission is, um, that's not a big goal, you may not have as much of a passion to do it.
Right,
Um, so you got to stay relevant. And then time bound, you got to put a deadline on it. When are you going to do it, um, to make sure you're executing on it? If you say I'm going to save $200 in 2020, that's pretty ambiguous. You got a long time to figure that out. Um, so so yeah, that's kind of a practical application to SMART goals. Anything, Ryan, that you kind of think about with goal setting?
I'm going to be honest. First of all, I've never been great at goal setting. Going back to, I
I
remember being
appreciate
in,
the honesty.
yeah, I remember going back, I don't know, probably eighth grade at least. And you got like the counselor there that's talked about you going to high school and you're going to set goals and all this stuff. And yeah, I remember not liking that whatsoever. So it's not something that has come naturally to me. Um, it's not, yeah, even to this day, it's not something that I would say I'm great at. I probably take more time to do it than I should, but no, it definitely helps, and it helps the right amount. So when you do get on there and get this resource that Cameron's provided, I would print it off, use that space that he's provided, actually write out what you're doing. Um, it doesn't have to be perfect the first time. It's going to change as you go, but getting it out, getting it writing, physically writing it out, not just typing on the keyboard makes a big difference. Really connects with your goals. And looking back into 2019, I'm using the a quarter planner. So every 3 months, I get a new planner and fill out the goals each and every month. So it's a good way to review them. But there's goals in there that I'd forgotten about that I'd written, and somehow, even though I wasn't looking at them every single day, I hit some of the goals that I originally put at the beginning of the year,
Wow, yeah,
just
that's
simply
great.
because I was writing them out and put the pen to the paper. So um, I'm not sure if I would have done that, without doing that work there.
Yeah,
So
I think you hit it on the head. The popular thing, the new year, everybody gets motivated. New year, going to make all these changes, and
mm-hmm.
um, they might, say something at a party on New Year's Eve, out into the ether, and then it just goes away.
Right.
30 minutes after saying it, and you wake up New Year's Day, and you're like, "What did I say? What am I wanting
Right.
to accomplish?"
Yep.
But yeah, by actually fleshing it out on the page, I think you've talked to me about that, Ryan. How writing things out is somehow it wires the brain differently,
Yeah,
um,
exactly. Yeah.
than just talking. And I can't remember where you told, but I remember you talking to me about that.
hmm Yeah,
Um,
there's been some studies, and I don't have them up in front of me to kind of, point you where they're at, but there's been some actual studies that have shown that physically writing pen to paper, you engage with the what you're doing more. So, um, let's say you're taking notes or something for a class or for maybe this podcast, and instead of just type it into your notepad on your computer there, take a notepad and write it down on the side of your page on the computer there. Um, I found
yeah,
that usually when I do that, I can usually recall what I was interested in the podcast a little bit better without going back to the notes even.
yeah,
So, yeah, I've kind
no,
of seen
that's
it in
true.
myself, but yeah, there's actually studies that they've done on that to show that works better.
Yeah, and if you listen to many podcasts, you'll hear a lot of thought leaders talking about journaling too. And I
Hmm.
know you and I've
Definitely.
talked about this, that there's just something when you talk about, or you write down your day and what it looked like, and stuff. There's something to capturing it and recalling it, um, that that just that just really helps your mind work on either problems you've got going on with work, or your goals. And um, it just really helps somehow wire things together. And following the SMART format is a great way to really just flesh out the whole, I want to lose weight. It's
Hmm.
a lot of people say that. Well, let's get smart with it. Let's
Right.
be specific. I want to lose 10 pounds. um, that's being specific and measurable. um, and then, is that attainable? It's 10 pounds isn't crazy. Is it relevant? Yeah. If it's mission bound, I want to be more active with my kids so that I can play and have fun memories with them. Well,
Hmm.
that's a strong mission to connect. And then time bound, try to say, I'm gonna I'm going to lose 2 pounds a month or something. And, and that's a good way to kind of get started, because you're formulating a plan to attack it. And then, like you said, even by doing that, sometimes you can close that book up and pull it out 6 months later and say, wow, I've gotten a little closer to where I was wanting to go without even really looking at it every day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I like how you mentioned that you're doing something quarterly with a planner. So
Correct.
do you put your
Yeah.
goals in the planner, you said?
Yeah. The planner I have provides kind of in the front uh, space to write out each goal, and it kind of walks you through actually the SMART concept. But it gets you to write it out. It lays it out for you. Why are you doing it? What's your motivation for it? Kind of your next steps and everything. Um, and even kind of what domain that it fills it into. So when you're identifying your goals, when you're writing it through, it's going to tell you if it's the family, what spoke it's going to tie back into. So um, and it's in the front of the planner intentionally, so you can take the time to look at it regularly, not just like I was doing last year. So, um,
Nice.
but it is convenient. It does take a little bit of work to kind of transfer them over and reformulate them, but it's also a good way to review and um, move stuff up, or maybe change that timeline, or what you're measuring here and there if you need to. So
Nice. Well, great. Yeah, I think um, it's great to kind of put the wheel of life together, like you said, and then attach the goals to it. So after you look back at the wheel, come to the goal planning sheet we have provided for you, and set a SMART goal in each area, and and then look at reviewing it weekly and starting to take action on it. And something Ryan and I have done is we have I run a master class, and Ryan's in a part of it, and we actually get together once a week, and we talk about our wheel of life, we talk about our goals, and we talk about content. And so we've actually designed a really good program where we are taking real application to goal setting and really digging into that. So we spent a couple weeks on the wheel of life and goal setting, and now we're actually digging into James Clear's Atomic Habits, because setting good habits will help you um, really move towards hitting your goals, because you can set habits around your goals which will help you achieve them, like working out. If you want to lose 10 pounds, set up a good habit of getting your workout clothes out the night before and setting them out where you work out, um, and digging deeper in that. So we're working through that book right now in our with a group of guys that we have, and we're challenging each other to execute on our goals in 2020. And I think it's a great program that allows everybody to kind of come together, talk about what we're doing, share ideas, hold each other accountable, and uh, we're excited to be doing that. And I think as we come back to it, we'll probably do another podcast here in a little bit about habits and how they impact our lives in positive and negative ways. I have good habits and bad habits. I don't know, Ryan, do you have some of those too?
oh yeah, um, yeah, yeah. That's been a great book. There are some tips in there on how to maybe catch some things you didn't really even realize you were doing. Um, yeah, kind of take a look at some of the things that may be throwing you off course, or maybe coming up more than you'd like them to, and how to find them, how to change them, and how to go on from there. So
Yeah,
I
I
look
think
forward to that discussion.
yeah, I think one of my best habits is just chips. I love chips, man. And so like I'll have a stressful day at work.
Yeah,
I come home and talking with my wife, kids running around, and I open the pantry and just grab a bag of chips, and I can eat like half a bag in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then, an hour and a half later, I'm eating a big dinner, and I'm like, oh man, there goes any any progress towards my goal of
Right.
maintaining a better weight, because I fell into the habit of going to my salty snack because I'm stressed out.
Right. I think
So
that's pretty common, but I'm there with you. And unfortunately, I have more categories than just chips that I like to snack on. So,
yeah,
uh, but uh, but yeah, and
I
working in the snacks business doesn't really help. So
yeah, very
they're
true.
always around.
Yeah, one thing I had happen recently that they had me fall into a good habit was
Hmm.
um, the dentist we go to. I never had
Hmm.
this before. We just started going to them in 2019, and I've never been a good flosser. I don't know, it's
Right.
something weird. I feel like I'm hurting my gums or something, so I couldn't do it. Uh, but I was like, so I wasn't doing it. I brush my teeth, but I wouldn't floss my gums. And so I went for my checkup, and they actually were like taking pictures of my gums and teeth, and they'd never done that before. I'd always been familiar with X-rays.
Hmm.
So anyway, they do that, and then I'm sitting in the chair for them to, check out my teeth. And before
Right.
they get going, they go, okay, well, let's take a look at your teeth and gums. And I go, okay. And they start showing the pictures, and I was disgusted because you could like see the plaque, like especially
Oh man. Right.
disgusting. And so that from that moment on, I was like, I got to start flossing this. And then insult to injury, I see the terrible picture. Then she spent like a half hour scraping it all off.
Oh man.
So I got very motivated to make it.
Oh yeah.
And
That
this last,
scraping alone would probably do it.
yeah. So the last 6 months, I got into a really good habit where I floss. I don't floss as much as I should still, but at least
Hmm.
once a day I floss, because it was kind of like, I think James Clear mentions this in the book. Um, a guy that like chews his fingernails, and he actually invests money to, get, what is it called, a manicure.
Right. Right.
Since he's investing in it and spending money, and they look nice, he doesn't want to ruin them. So
Yeah.
I kind of connected with that with my teeth and how gross they were.
Nice. I like how you played that off like you didn't know what a manicure was there.
Yeah, yeah.
Well done. Well
I have
played.
no idea.
Uh-huh.
Pedicure, I don't know.
Yeah. Just
I'm
kidding.
not a podiatrist.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Um,
Uh,
yeah, we'll have to do that for an outing one time. Go get
right.
manicures or something.
Yeah. I might be sick that day.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Well, awesome.
yeah, I
Well,
know. Yeah, and it's just those small things. And sometimes it does take that kind of a little bit of a wake up call for you to see what's really going on. But um, I've also heard of people that trying to change, they're kind of in a rut, and that's what they actually start with is just flossing their teeth once a day, and
yeah,
kind of gets them out of their rut and gets them something to focus on and starts them in the right direction. So, but going back to you mentioned journaling. There's another piece in there he talks about a little later in the book, and we can get back into it. But if you're trying to start a habit, just to start small, so just journal. So that's what I've been.
oh yeah,
It's kind of my February goal. Didn't really hit it in January, but February is just journal one line a night at least, just a sentence. Start there, and um,
just
yeah.
kind of
So
summarize the day.
yeah, yeah, just my thoughts, kind of a one maybe two sentence thought of how the day was or how I think it went, and kind of go from there and let that grow from there. So that's my plan.
Very cool.
Uh,
I appreciate this conversation, and I think some good information here on how to, if you've kind of stumbled at the blocks in 2020. Ryan and I are talking right now, January 30th, kind of before we started the episode. We were saying how, man, can't believe a month of the new year is pretty much in the books. I know I've had those years where I get started and fall off, but it's a long year, so get back on the horse. Try this download, see if it works for you. Maybe print out another copy for your wife, and kind of get rolling together on things that you want to do, because it really helps get that wheel balanced and have some more harmony in the day, which is always good. So well, appreciate you guys being with us, and definitely check us out when we get back with our next episode around Atomic Habits. And I love Ryan's thought on start small. You know, that's big, and that's true for me. You know, flossing wasn't big. It's literally like, I don't know, 30 seconds, but it's one of those small things that has big dividends, where it's good for your heart health, it's good for your overall health, and it's something small that has a big impact in 30 seconds. It's worth it. So, all right, guys. Well, check us out next time. See ya.